Welcome to NAB 2026. I'm James with Ikan, and I have here with me Adam Oas, Sales and Engineering with TM Television. How are you today, Adam?
I'm doing great, actually. It's today's the last day of the show, and so your feet are tired and your brain is a little bit mush. But all in all, it's such a great educational and learning experience coming out here and seeing all the booths and being able to bounce back and forth, where I can ask one question of you, and then I can go and find out from XYZ company, how can we integrate these things to make sure that when it all comes together, that it all just works. Because in the end, we have to make sure that the solutions that we're providing really are successful before they get installed.
Perfectly said, Adam. I absolutely agree with you. It's been a long show. We are both very tired, but it is very worth it.
Absolutely.
To be able to do that, to be able to talk, you and I, to be able to meet friends and partners that we get to see once every couple of months, and to be all under the same roof is special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Adam, tell the audience a bit about yourself, as well as TM Television.
Sure. So I spent quite a few years in production myself, editing spots, corporate, educational, that type of stuff. And about 15 years ago, I moved over to TM Television. We're, integration, sales, engineering, design work. We do everything from fairly small customers that are just, kind of a guy with a camera and an edit system, all the way through some Fortune 10 companies. We've designed and built out studios for everybody in between. We do have a specialty in kind of the storage and editorial workflows. But we kind of have to cover everything in the industry, because once you're starting in with the client, then they're like, well, hey, can you help me with this as well? And the answer always needs to be yes. And then you figure out how afterwards, right?
I heard corporations.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond corporations, what are your other customer segments?
Sure. Corporate is probably our number one segment, but we do a lot of work with educational institutions. That's very big for us. House of worship. Between churches and religious broadcasters has been very good for TM Television. We've got a number of post houses that have been very good customers of ours for a very long time. And so it sort of runs the gamut from very small to very large. And it's nice to have that mix, because it gives us a bit more perspective on the industry. Not everybody needs a 5ME switcher with, 1,000 channels of graphics. Some people need small things, and some people need really large things. Some people need tons and tons of lights, and some people need a 3-light kit that they can throw on an airplane and take with them. And if you don't have perspective on the entirety of the industry, you might be missing out on something that's a really cool solution that somebody on the high end may go, well, I don't think that would work for us. We're too big. Or somebody that is providing a really high-end solution that is the perfect fit for somebody who might have to stretch their budget to get there, but it really takes them a long way down the road. And having a broad perspective across the entire industry, I think, helps us a lot.
Mm-hmm. I love what you said, Adam, because what I'm hearing you tell me is you get to know your customers, really get to know them. You get to know what they want. You also get to know what their capabilities are to be able to support the equipment once you build it out for them, right? Because you don't want to build something that they can't support, and you don't want to build something so little that they're like, I'm going to outgrow it in 6 months.
Yeah. You have to take a short-term and a long-term view of any project you do. You have to look at what are the capabilities they need today, and what are they going to need tomorrow as well. And one thing that I tell my customers all the time is my job is not to sell you on anything. It's to provide you the information you need to make intelligent decisions for your budget, for your current and future needs.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I mean, that is what our company also stands for. We are committed to not telling you necessarily what you want to hear, but affirming, being great listeners, understanding what you need and helping you get there, right? Being informative, making sure that you are equipped to make wise and pertinent and informed decisions based on all the information that we can provide for you, based on the context of what you've given us, right? That's so important.
That's one of the reasons we like working with you guys too, is because it's clear that you guys have some of that same attitude of, the product that you have may not fit every single instance every single time, but you'd rather have a good reputation than jam something down somebody's throat.
Yeah, it's the long view, right?
Absolutely.
We want to develop trust and relationship, and that's the only way companies can have the longevity. How long has Tian been in business?
Since 92, so there's 24 years. Yeah, we've been around, or 34 years. It's a long time.
Yeah.
And we've had, just a constant and steady drumbeat of making sure that we service the clients that we have, as opposed to trying to drive new and find something crazy and new to do. Do what you do and do it well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We are both Texas-based companies.
Yep.
Where does TM's reach extend?
Sure. I mean, so Texas is home, right? We spend a lot of time in the Louisiana and Arkansas, and I spend a ton of time in Oklahoma, believe it or not. Some of these are states that, the entire state of Oklahoma has fewer people than just the DFW metro, but that doesn't mean that those places, the hills of Arkansas have been good to me, right? It's kind of amazing who comes out of the woodwork that needs a solution that I can provide.
Absolutely agree. Very, very cool. Talking about the market segments, you mentioned corporation is your biggest piece. In addition to that, there's houses of worship, and the other segments. What are similar? What's similar? What's different about your different customer segments?
Sure. I mean, so you've clearly got some in the broadcast side who really have to have that extreme reliability and durability and redundancy and things like that. A lot of our house of worship clients are looking for more cutting edge, right? If your church service doesn't go off, then the pastor just says, "Hey, I tell you what, let's do a candlelight service today," right? And there's a little bit more grace, as it were.
Yeah.
Not that we want anything to go down, but being on the cutting edge is a little more what we're seeing on the house of worship side. Corporations, some of them are in that same vein of we want to find what's the cutting edge. And the other ones we're finding are more worried about the reliability. When the CEO of a Fortune 10 company is sitting in front of a camera, you cannot have it fail, right? You have to, everything has to work perfectly every single time. But when it's, when it's a small company, a company of 10 people, they're looking to save the budget dollars, and if they got to reshoot it tomorrow, then okay, we'll reshoot it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is very insightful. I imagine when you talk about the CEO of a Fortune 10 company, he's in front of media, say a CNBC, right? And that absolutely cannot fail. So now we're talking about like tier 1 broadcast, great fidelity, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Last question, Adam. Every year coming to NAB, at least for myself, many things feel similar, and yet every year has its own uniqueness in terms of technologies and trends. What are the unique and different things this year for you as you come into NAB?
Well, so this is definitely the year that AI has come to the forefront on just about everybody's plate, right? The implementation of these AIs is still somewhat in their infancy, and we're seeing some real products that are starting to hit the market now that are going to very much help, less on the live side, but more so on the content management side. There used to be banks and banks of editors that would spend all day logging footage, and now we can have an AI server do that. And it does it fast, it does it fairly efficiency, and it does a good job. These things they still need, humans to make the final decisions and to double check all the work and to add the stuff that doesn't make easy and clear sense to an AI server. But that is definitely making that side of things much faster and much more efficient. I mean, and we're seeing AI inserted into some really interesting areas as well. One of the very large equipment manufacturers that have very heavy infrastructure, they have an AI system now that will troubleshoot when a tie line goes down, and it can really enhance the effectiveness of an engineer. IP is definitely coming, and for the right clients, either the lower NDI SRT type of stream is happening. 2110 is very popular if you've got a system that requires it. We are seeing, believe it or not, less than you might think in the 2110 instances, and part of that is because the technical challenges required to implement it and the pushback that we're getting from some of the larger IT corporation departments, they either don't want to support it, they don't know how to support it, or if they say, yeah, we'll figure it out. Well, this is not something you just figure out, right? It needs to be planned and architected from the beginning. And if you don't do it that way, then the system is going to fall down, and we don't like that.
No, not at all. I absolutely agree with you. The adoption of IP workflows in our broadcast space is definitely gaining steam in the last couple of years. And with that, I'm also seeing the convergence of broadcast and AV, right? Corporations, especially those who are getting into video for the first time, they're really looking at it as, can this be an extension of our AV infrastructure, right? And to that extent, to that end, we've had a lot of success with our line of power over Ethernet broadcast lighting, right? Broadcast grade fidelity, high CRI, high quality, but yet utilizing the infrastructure and backbone of the AV sector of a company. We found a lot of success. We were lowering the barrier, low voltage, permit free, allowing it and lightweight, low profile, allowing these drop ceilings like this mock drop ceiling we have above us, right? To have companies get started. Whereas in a traditional sense, having to potentially do, a piping grid and adding permitting for the electricians, it would just kill that project from even inception.
Absolutely. I can tell you, even at some of the very highest levels that we've worked at, if they're building something new out, they don't really want to bother with all the high voltage electrical work. And they don't want to deal with an entire web of cabling. And man, I love these lights, right? Because I don't have an electrician on staff. And for me to go to my client and say, look, I can do everything for you, but now you got to call this one other guy, right? And get quotes from 3 different electrical companies. And then we show up and, well, they kind of did what we wanted to do. With these, it's all low voltage and we can just handle it ourselves. And the clients love the fact that they can write one check and the whole thing is entirely turnkey, and I don't have to tell them to go talk to somebody else who knows how long that's going to take. How's that going to slow the process down? And does that electrician then come in and go, oh, well, instead of buying these professional higher grade cameras, we could sell you this, this no-name camera, and you could, I can lose business because electricians, they can install a camera, right? And if it's something that's very simple, then I'm handing my client off to somebody else. No, thank you. I'd rather just handle it myself.
Yeah, no, that's so well said. I mean, you want to be in control of it. And you're right. Once you lose control of that process, especially when there has to be a local electrician relationship that you may not have, and every city has their own requirements for what it takes to obtain a permit. Sometimes it's days, more oftentimes it's weeks, and sadly, sometimes months, right? Depends on the city. That could, like I said, those are the frictions that could stop you from being able to do what you do best. Yeah, really. So going back to what you said, AI. Some really profound ways that you've described how AI can enhance the automation side, the workflow side of your clients. Do you anticipate actually utilizing some of that even this year in some of your projects?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've got a number of projects that are very much on the docket right now. And I've actually had a number of clients who are a little bit kicking and screaming coming into it, but they've got a boss who's not a media person, but they're standing above them going, you will use AI, right? If you're not using AI now, or say by this point next year, then I'm going to find somebody else who will. Because people are recognizing that, sure, there's downsides to AI, but there's an awful lot of upside as well. And you need to figure out what it is that you can do to utilize this. It's an incredibly powerful tool, right? And it does take a little bit of practice and a little bit of learning. It's not just a magic button, but once you start to really utilize a lot of that power, it will benefit you. And customers are realizing that, and they're starting to use it in new and creative ways. But the most creative ways that I'm finding are actually coming from the business side, right? I talked to one of your guys earlier, and they were talking about being able to use an AI, a standard web-based AI engine to move stuff into your teleprompter system. And like, who would be thinking, I need AI in my teleprompter? Well, yeah, you do, because if I want to move something around, or if I want an AI to take a story and bring it in real quick, yeah, you're going to probably want a human to check it and edit it. But if it's already right there, it's already done. I've saved myself 10 minutes worth here and 10 minutes worth there, and that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Adam. As a company, we've embraced AI for many years now. And for us, it's sustainable AI. What does that mean? It means that we want AI to do some of it is grunt work, but the lower value work, so that the high touch things that make us as people the best as we are is what we want to allow each person the time to do. What does that mean? For the sales team, we want AI to help build quotes and fill out paperwork and do the things that they must do, so that they can have the higher value touch points. They can have more calls with their customers, more conferences, more time visiting their customers, attending perhaps more shows. Again, more of this engagement, what we are meant to do. For our product team, for our marketing team, it's giving them the ability to be more creative and more innovative, right? Take away all the necessary grunt work that we all have to do to keep a company going and to make sure everything is moving along. AI can leverage and take away a lot of those burdens, so that we as people can be what we do best as people: be creative, be innovative, and have more face-to-face or digital, at least voice-to-voice and face-to-face conversations.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Adam, it's been such a pleasure talking with you today, getting to know you well. TM is a great organization. We are grateful for your partnership and your confidence in us.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you much for having me. And if you need us, we're at tmtel.com. You can give us a shout there, or telephone. We're happy. We do focus in the South Central, but we do venture out, just in case people a little bit further out from there who aren't feeling the love from LA and New York and those types of places. We've done a real good job of taking care of people who don't have the big city mentality. So
that is great to know. And Texas hospitality, it truly is second to none.
I agree.
Thank you, Adam.
All right, thanks much.